gala reunion. The champagne glass trembled in Michael Sterling's hand. Across the glittering ballroom, a woman in a midnight blue gown stood beside a teenage girl who had his eyes, the same steel-gray eyes he saw in the mirror every morning. 18 years of carefully constructed walls crumbled in an instant. The annual Riverside Charity Gala was the event of the season. Crystal chandeliers cast warm light across polished marble floors. Men in tailored tuxedos and women in elegant gowns moved through the grand hall like figures in a waltz. The air hummed with quiet conversations and the soft clink of glasses. Michael Sterling had attended this gala for the past decade. As CEO of Sterling Technologies, he was expected to be here, to smile, to shake hands, to write generous checks. He did it all mechanically, the way he did most things in his life, with precision but without feeling. Tonight should have been no different, but tonight everything changed. He stood near the refreshment table, half listening to a board member drone on about quarterly projections. Then his gaze drifted across the room and time stopped. Sarah Matthews. She stood near the entrance, poised and elegant in a way that made his chest tighten. Her auburn hair was swept up, revealing the graceful curve of her neck. But it wasn't just Sarah who caught his attention. Beside her stood a girl, perhaps 17 or 18 years old. She wore a simple white blouse and black skirt, her blonde hair falling in soft waves. And her eyes, those eyes were unmistakably his own. Michael's breath caught. The board member's voice faded to nothing. 18 years ago, he had been a different man. Younger, more ambitious, more selfish. He had met Sarah at a company event. She was an intern in the marketing department. Their romance had been brief but intense. Then came the night she told him she was pregnant. He remembered the fear that had seized him. His career was just taking off. A child would complicate everything. So he had done the unthinkable. He offered her money, a settlement, anything she needed, as long as she understood he couldn't be part of their lives. Sarah had looked at him with tears streaming down her face, and she had walked away. He never saw her again. Until now. Michael's feet moved before his mind could object. He crossed the ballroom, weaving through clusters of guests, his heart pounding harder with each step. Sarah noticed him approaching. For a moment their eyes met, and he saw a flash of something, surprise, perhaps or old pain carefully hidden. "Sarah," he said, his voice rougher than intended. "Michael." Her tone was calm, controlled. Years had passed, but she still carried herself with the same quiet dignity he remembered. The girl beside her looked between them with curious eyes. "This is my daughter, Emma," Sarah said softly. Emma extended her hand with the practiced politeness of someone raised well. "Nice to meet you, Mr. Sterling." "Our daughter," Michael thought, but he couldn't say the words. They stuck in his throat like broken glass. He shook her hand, feeling the warmth of her palm, the firmness of her grip. "The pleasure is mine." An awkward silence settled over them. Around them, the gala continued, laughter, music, the gentle roar of conversation. But the three of them stood in a bubble of tension. "I didn't know you'd be here," Michael finally said, addressing Sarah. "I'm working with the Riverside Foundation now," she explained. "I help coordinate their youth education programs. Emma is one of our scholarship recipients." Pride colored her voice when she spoke of Emma, and Michael felt something twist inside him. He had missed everything. The first steps, the first words, the first day of school. 18 years of moments he could never reclaim. "Mom's been amazing," Emma said, her voice bright with admiration. "She built the whole program from the ground up. She helps kids who don't have much get into good colleges." Sarah's cheeks flushed slightly. "Emma, you're exaggerating." "I'm not," Emma insisted. She turned to Michael. "My mom is the strongest person I know. She raised me by herself, worked 2 jobs, put herself through graduate school, and still found time to help other people." Each word was a knife, not because Emma meant them to be, but because they were true. While Michael had been building his empire, Sarah had been building something far more meaningful. "That's remarkable," Michael managed. Sarah met his gaze, and in her eyes, he saw not anger, but something sadder, acceptance. "We should probably get to our table," Sarah said gently, placing a hand on Emma's shoulder. "Wait," Michael said. The word came out more urgently than he intended. Could we talk? Just for a moment?" Sarah hesitated, then nodded to Emma. "Sweetheart, why don't you head to the table? I'll join you in a minute." Emma glanced between them, clearly sensing the undercurrent of history, but she nodded and walked away. The conversation. Alone with Sarah, Michael felt 18 years of regret pressing down on him. "I don't expect forgiveness," he began. "What I did was cowardly," Sarah finished quietly. "It was cowardly, Michael." He flinched but nodded. "Yes. Do you know what the hardest part was?" She continued, her voice steady but soft. "It wasn't the pregnancy or the labor or even the sleepless nights. It was explaining to Emma as she grew older why she didn't have a father. Trying to help her understand that it wasn't her fault, that she was wanted and loved, even if not by everyone. "Sarah, I'm not telling you this to hurt you," she said. "I'm telling you because you should know. Emma is an incredible young woman. She's kind, brilliant, compassionate. She's everything I could have hoped for." "She got that from you," Michael said. "Maybe." Sarah's expression softened slightly. "But she also has your determination, your intelligence. Whether you were there or not, you're part of who she is." The weight of lost years pressed against Michael's chest. "Is it too late?" he asked, his voice barely above a whisper. "Is it too late to know her?" Sarah was quiet for a long moment. Around them someone clinked a glass, calling the guests to their seats for dinner. "That's not my decision alone to make," she finally said. "Emma is almost an adult. She deserves to know the truth, and she deserves to make her own choice about whether she wants you in her life." "And you?" Michael asked. "What do you want?" Sarah looked across the ballroom to where Emma sat, chatting with other scholarship recipients, her face bright with laughter. "I want whatever is best for my daughter," Sarah said. "If having you in her life brings her happiness, then I won't stand in the way. But if you're going to do this, Michael, you need to be all in. No half measures. No disappearing when things get difficult. She deserves better than that." "I understand," Michael said, and he meant it. "I can't undo the past, Sarah, but if you give me a chance..." "If she gives me a chance, I promise, I'll spend the rest of my life trying to be the father I should have been from the beginning." Sarah studied his face, searching for something, sincerity, perhaps, or genuine change. "We're having brunch on Sunday," she said finally. "Madison Cafe, 11 o'clock. If you want to start somewhere, that could be a beginning." Hope, fragile and unfamiliar, bloomed in Michael's chest. "I'll be there." "Don't make promises you can't keep, Michael." "I won't," he said firmly. "Not this time." The evening continued around them. Eventually they parted ways, Sarah returning to Emma, Michael to his own table. But something had shifted. Throughout dinner, Michael found his gaze drifting across the room to where Sarah and Emma sat. He watched the easy way they interacted, the obvious love between them. Emma laughed at something Sarah said, her whole face lighting up. And Michael felt both joy and sorrow, joy that she was so happy, sorrow that he had missed so much. When the gala ended and guests began to depart, Michael caught Sarah's eye one more time. She gave him a small nod, not quite a smile, but acknowledgement. A possibility. Emma noticed the exchange. She leaned toward her mother, asking something Michael couldn't hear. Sarah spoke quietly, and Emma's eyes widened slightly. She looked at Michael across the distance. Those grey eyes, his eyes filled with surprise and something else. Curiosity, maybe. She didn't smile, but she didn't look angry either. As Michael drove home through the quiet city streets, he thought about Sunday. He thought about what he would say, how he would explain 18 years of absence. He thought about the long road ahead, the trust that would need to be built one day at a time. For the first time in 18 years, Michael Sterling felt something he had forgotten how to feel. And he felt, perhaps, like he might finally have a chance to become the man he should have been all along, a father. The city lights blurred past his window as he drove into the night. Toward Sunday, toward a second chance he didn't deserve, but would spend the rest of his life trying to earn.